Hey guys, hope everything's going well. You guys know the drill. Smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and comment down below. You guys can follow me on Instagram as well at AIH_sports. Okay, I wanted to do this video, not so much on sports cards, but I'm going to tie a topic that the media really isn't covering too much. And it's regarding potential new rules via the IRS. And there have been a few articles about it, but I haven't seen that much coverage. And if you look at earlier this year, a few channels were talking about potential new tax regulations going into effect. So suppose you have more than $600 in e-commerce transactions, for instance, on eBay, on Mercari. I don't know Mercari, but eBay for sure, and a few other websites. And what would happen is these sites would say, okay, you have more than $600 in transactions, gross, that is, and they're going to send you a tax form. And this tax form you have to report to the IRS. Now, the thing is, you have to report the amount of cost that was associated with the amount of sales. So suppose you have $2,000 in sales, but the total cost of the cards or whatever you sold on eBay was $1,000, then you put that $1,000 as a cost. Now, with this potential rule coming into effect, we have the IRS can now potentially snoop into your bank account if you have more than $600. And you guys could correct me if I'm wrong on any of this information, but it looks like this is going to happen. It's a matter of when is this going to happen. The IRS can snoop into your bank account and look at costs more than 600. I mean, as long as you have more than $600, the IRS can snoop into your bank account. And they're going to probably look at these apps such as Zelle, PayPal, and a few others. I think Stripe. And they want to see how much money is coming in and how much money is coming out. And if they see something totally different compared to the previous years, they could potentially audit you. And this becomes a bit scary for some individuals who are not keeping track of all the transactions they are engaged in right now. There are a lot of people with side hustles, and they've done pretty well in 2020, 2021 in terms of sports cards. And suppose you're seeing all this cash coming into your bank account, but you're not reporting because it didn't hit the eBay threshold for reporting. Because a lot of these transactions, it has to be more than $20,000. The IRS didn't care back in the day because there wasn't a pandemic, but now the U.S. government is running huge deficits, and they need to find the money somewhere. And one of the industries that has benefited through this pandemic are all these guys at home flipping sports cards. And are they going to go after everyone? No. In my opinion, they're probably first going to go after those individuals who have a business and they want to also make sure that there's no hanky panky going on, that they're not having crazy amount of write-offs that were wrong. And this is where the IRS is going to come in and do audits if they see any extraordinary change year over year. So, what does this mean for individuals who are selling sports cards on eBay right now? Or if they're just doing cash transactions, by the way. If you're doing these cash transactions, like on Zelle, on Stripe, whatever the app is, Venmo, you may think carefully about uh, keeping those records in hand. And the reason is if you get audited and you made a decent amount of money, you need to show the IRS what's going on, because I've been through audits in the private sector. They're a pain, and you need to keep your records carefully. So, what I'm doing is I'm looking at some of the card transactions that I've done. These are usually cards that I sent to PWCC, Four Sharp Corners, and Probstein. I think I've done 5 transactions, and I think it must be 7 to 8 grand if I have to remember correctly, or maybe it could be 6 to 7 grand. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's around that range. And now I have to put all of those costs together. I have to document it just in case the IRS wants to audit me at some point. And some people say, why would you deal with Probstein? Why would you deal with PWCC? Why would you deal with Four Sharp Corners? They've been involved with Hanky Panky. And the reason that I do that is I do this so I can apply it against a capital gains tax rate. A capital gains tax rate, from my understanding, don't quote me on this, if it's more than a year, it's beneficial to do it from a capital gains tax rate rather than an ordinary tax rate. And because, for instance, if I sold it on my own personal eBay account, I'd get a tax form, and then I'd have to tell my accountant, this is a collectible. How could you do it? In my opinion, it's just much easier for me to take all the information they sent to me in my bank account. I'll show them this is how much I got. This is the bank statement. This is the cost that I bought it at from eBay or whatever site I bought it at, and put it as a capital gains, and I'll pay that lower tax rate. And it's completely legal. And I've talked to my accountant about it. He said that if you have a collectible card, it's more than a year, apply it as a capital gains tax. Some accountants may say something else, but my accountant told me this because it's a collectible. And once again, go to your accountant and see what he or she says. I'm just going by what the CPA I deal with. And I'm not a tax guy. I'm more of a private sector accountant. So I know different things than my CPA. My CPA, he knows all the ins and outs. But I focus more on all this balance sheet, profit and loss, all these stuff I deal with. He deals with reporting, the tax forms, dealing with the IRS. And he knows all the stuff I know, but he doesn't deal with it extensively as I do. Now, putting that aside, I think it's really important if you guys are playing a lot with sports cards and you have more than $600 and you maybe have $600 in your bank account and you also have a business on the side, you may think about keeping your records pretty clean. And in my opinion, the IRS is going to come after these small, mom and pop businesses that are involved in the collectibles industry. They're going to go after everyone, okay? All these businesses. But in my opinion, they're going to go after them. And the other thing that I'm thinking of is you have companies like Four Sharp Corners. Four Sharp Corners and PWCC, from my understanding, they send the money to you. Or actually, yeah, they send the money to you via PayPal. I believe you can request an ACH as well from PWCC, but someone could correct me if I'm wrong. But Four Sharp Corners, they send me the money via PayPal. And if you send money via friends and family, the IRS may start looking at that now because they're like, okay, this is how people are evading the system. And they're not trying to report the right amount of money. They're doing it as a sale. So there could be some issues with that moving forward. The other thing that I'm thinking of is that these companies, PWCC, Probstein, Four Sharp Corners, they're not sending any tax form about all the transactions you make with them. And I wonder if the IRS is going to come hard against them. I asked the CPA about this a long time ago on YouTube. He has a sports car channel as well. And he said that technically these companies should be keeping detailed records and should be sending tax forms, but they're not. And I wonder if there's going to be more regulation on that front because the government isn't making that much money as it used to because of this pandemic. There's a labor shortage. Uh, you have issues now with the jabba dabba ding dong. People are quitting. So it's quite interesting. So, my advice to you, if you are playing a lot in the sports card market and you think that you could get away with it in 2021 because of the new rules coming next year, I would think again and get your records in order as soon as possible. Granted, it's only September and we're not going to be filing taxes until April, but it's good to get your records straight. So if you ever have to deal with an audit, you could be like, hey, this is what I bought it at from eBay. This is what it was sold. This is the money that Four Sharp Corners or Probstein sent me. Or if you sold it on your own, you could show the documentation. And me as an accountant, you have to keep your records in order. And I didn't used to do that when I first started out in my career. But I've learned that you need to be able to show the documentation as clearly as possible. Now, once again, it's not going to come after everyone, but everyone should be keeping good records if you are a big player in this market. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think. Smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and comment down below, guys. Thanks. Bye.